Oh, oh my God. Whoa. Where you been?
I don't know, man, but it's a whiteout blizzard right now outside.
Yeah, it's so funny. I've been waiting to ask you this question. It's a whiteout blizzard where you're at, but you got a shirt on that says Freshwater Surf Club.
Yeah.
What is that, and where did you get it?
Yeah, it's great. It's a very lightweight thing. I got a gift card for Christmas to this brand, and they are not. Yeah, I needed to add like $20 more to my cart to get free shipping, and this was on a final sale option, and it was like $25. So I was like, okay, fresh. And it's not. I think it says Faherty brand, Great Lakes, USA, but I think they're from California, so I don't know.
So what is the brand though? Is Freshwater Surf Club the brand?
No. Faherty. Faherty.
Yeah. Huckberry sells a lot of their.
Yeah, that's where I learned about them or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, well,
yeah,
I've been wondering about that for the last like 10 minutes while I was staring at
blurry. You. I mean, it just looks white, but that's because it's literally flying sideways snow.
Well, I'll tell you this: in California, where I'm at, in the Ojai Valley, it is amazing. It rained for 10 to 14 days, and I'm like, am I in South Africa? Is this because when we stayed in the farm, and built that tree house, that was literally one of the greatest places I've ever been. And I looked down yesterday at the valley, and I saw these horses walking. I was like, this is just like South Africa. Like, this was the best. I was like, holy smokes, this is so cool.
I'll never forget living in California for like 10 years without realizing it was in a drought the whole time I was there. And then it rained for like a month randomly right before I left. And I was like, this looks like a different country.
Dude, I remember when we met up with Ted Cowan when we first moved out there, and he goes, the best is after February. After the rain, this place is green. And then we went right into a drought. And I was like, I don't know what he's talking about.
Pretty dead out here.
But now I understand. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else is going on?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right, good.
It's snowing, and I'm trying to plan where to go next, which is, and all the places I'm thinking of are very different than what's outside right now. But
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's funny. I just got back from Nicaragua, and like, let me put it this way: when you go overseas, especially when you go to quote unquote remote places, you realize how much you don't need. You just don't need. Like, I look around now in this little miniature office I got going on. I go, I didn't need that when I was there. I didn't need that. I didn't need any of this. And I'm just like, how do I get rid of shit? And I don't know. So you're in the tropics, and I'm walking around in only shorts, like that's all I did all day. And now I'm back, and I have to, double up on this. Not as bad as you have.
Are you saying weather can get rid of shit in your life?
No. You know what? Environment matters. And sometimes I had this whole conversation. I know we're going off on tangents before we even get to the topic, but I had this conversation with somebody the other day. And they're like, I used to get this a lot from with the company I was in Texas. They were like, oh, I can't believe you live in California and all the taxes and all that stuff. Right. I'm like, dude, I pay a weather tax. I don't care. Right. And then somebody from Chicago was talking to me about like how they love Chicago and it's way better. And don't get me wrong, I love Chicago in the summertime. I go, and they're talking about the expenses again, about the expensiveness of California. And I go, here, let's do some math. In like, I don't know, September, October, all the way through May, if you live in downtown Chicago and you don't have a covered parking spot, which most people don't, right? You don't have a covered parking spot. More importantly, even if you do, it doesn't matter. How much time are you spending layering, saving your parking spot, shoveling snow, dealing with it, the rain and all that? And I go, add that time up. I don't have any of that time. And you just blew. If your time is worth $500 an hour, $100 an hour, I'm still saving money.
Yeah, I feel like it's not even a live stream. That's just another topic where if you actually calculated all of the little things instead of just like the broad idea, they all like equate to each other. And yeah, it's usually the expense is energy instead of like a dollar bill, but energy is a dollar bill.
It's more. Yeah. People just undervalue their time and their energy. That's really that's the next live stream.
Yeah.
Not the next one, but a soon to be one. We should actually probably talk about today's topic.
What's up, Tony? Sorry.
I don't know who. Sorry. Oh, what's up,
Tony in Florida.
I had it covered up, so I didn't see it. So today's topic, right? I mean, look, the headline we put out, right, is simply why doing less isn't helping you feel better. So the question, in your opinion, because I'm the one who came up with it, but why don't I push it back to you? What triggered that? What could trigger that? And like, why are we talking about it today?
Well, I just think I always just think about painting the picture. So, this topic is ultimately about consuming versus creating. But that's a really broad, it's hard to understand what that really means.
And it pulls no heartstrings where people are like, I don't care.
Yeah. Consuming and creating, what does it mean? But when you say why doing less isn't helping you feel better, when I think about doing less, I think about what am I doing when I'm doing less? And that usually means I'm the day kind of flies by because all I'm doing is looking at my phone or a computer screen. And I'm just consuming information that I did not create. I'm not doing anything new or novel or anything like that. And for me personally, I know it not in the moment, but like, so if I go through a whole day and I don't do anything novel or exciting or creative or anything like that, then I just feel bad at the end of the night. I'm like, what did I do? And I realized oftentimes it was like, I scrolled my phone too much. I watched like YouTube videos. I didn't need to. I was like, why am I even here? And time flies by because nothing's happening. And I don't feel better. And what tends to happen is when I don't know what to do, it's like our default mechanism is to do less. Oh, I got to go relax. I got to go, like I'm feeling frustrated. So I'm going to like take some time off. When in reality, doing less creates the frustration. Yeah. So I mean, that's and then I just have this visual in my head. When I think about when I'm just consuming too much, I literally just like envision not just myself, but like you go out and you go to a store, you go to a restaurant, even with your friends, and people just like default to their phone. It's not just the phone, by the way, consumption, but like that's just the simplest thing that I can think of. Is I look at a phone and you're consuming other people's posts, other people's ideas, headlines, news, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It is a box of consumption. That is literally what that is. And if you're just consuming, then literally, I don't know how else to put it. Like, I'm always frustrated because I have no control over what is happening because I'm not creating anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that make any sense?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we're hashing it out now and it makes sense. The reason why it's like when we add the words feel better while doing less isn't helping you feel better. The question is what do we mean by feel better? So what's feeling bad? Like, why are you feeling like, not you, but like, if you're trying to feel better, what's making you feel bad? Right. And what is the feeling?
Yeah. What is
bad?
the feeling?
And so you can usually put the words around feeling bad, like I'm anxious, I'm depressed, I'm all these things, right? That's feeling bad. You can put any word you want there. And then people are like, oh, well, usually that's why I said, doing less isn't going to make you feel better, because usually when you're doing less, you're then trying to find a way to occupy that less. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at like, someone goes on vacation and it's like they sit on their phone on next to the pool the whole time. So you're doing less, but are you really doing less? And that's the second thing I wanted to bring up, which is there's a difference between rest and relaxation. Mm-hmm. Rest and relaxation are very different in this whole excuse my language, in this cancer thing, right? The amount of doctors I hear say, oh, you need to relax and like, you need to, give your body time to whatever. They use the words relax. You need to relax more. One guy was like, you just go sit in a hammock. And I was like, okay, there's a difference between relaxation and rest. Mm-hmm. Rest is a period where you actually rest your mind. That means like your mind is shut off or down. That means your body is shut down. That's actually a place for repair and for all that good stuff, right? Relaxation means you're actually in like a state where you're just kind of in a daydreaming state. But the issue now is that daydreaming state creates a hole that needs to be filled because you're actually not doing anything in that relaxed state.
Well, think about when you're resting, you are actually letting, when you say like letting your body recover or your mind recover or whatever it is, if you're consuming while you are resting, you are no longer resting.
You're relaxing / consuming.
You're firing your brain up with dopamine that probably doesn't matter, is not really helping anything. Yeah. And therefore you're not repairing anything and you're not creating anything. So you're like, I just to go back in the you mentioned the cancer stuff, and it made me think of this anecdote. When I had strokes, it's actually the opposite. So you talked about your doctors asking you to rest. Well, they said relax, but they probably meant rest. And I remember, so after I had the strokes and stuff, I had like a follow-up appointment, maybe a month or two later. And my neurologist, it was a really interesting appointment because I went in there and I'm anxious. I'm like, yeah, I feel this and I feel that. And she's like, okay, it's probably fine, sort of mentality. And I was like trying to give all these very medical type of questions to her to like like, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel this way? And she was like, everything's fine. And then she said, so like, how are you though? And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I mean, I guess I'm all right. She was like, but like, are you going out hanging with your friends? And I was like, what is a weird question to ask? Like, I'm thinking about strokes. And she told me, she was like, the people I'm worried about the most after something like this has happened are people who stay at home and do nothing and they live inside a bubble. That is when I get nervous because that is like you start hibernating and you're so scared, you're anxious, you're frustrated, you are protecting yourself from everything. So all you do is consume other people's information and you are not creating any element in the day of your own. And so she was literally suggesting that like, hey, the people who do well after this sort of thing are people who go back to living their life and like going and hanging out with their friends or planning events or doing these things. Those are the people, because they're not inside their head, just stuck there the whole time, consuming information. They're creating new things in their life. And I was like, I'm now connecting the dots as we talk about this now.
Well, and we think about the brain part of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually a scientific, there's studies on this. Science basically says that consumption biases, right? Consumption biases the brain toward passivity, right? Comparison and threat. So think about it, when you're being passive and you're comparing and you're at threat, right? It's because of that consumption mode. But when you're in that creation mode, when you're creating, that biases the brain toward agency, right? Being self-efficacy, basically. Like I'm capable, right? And then there's meaning, right? And then there's more brain and body regulation, right? So the point is science literally shows that the more you consume, and consuming, by the way, could be from the phone. It could be going out and buying more stupid clothes and all this other crap you don't need, right? That's consumption. And that's filling a hole. That's filling a hole that your brain is looking to fill.
So how would you...
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking like, okay, yeah, because I agree. The way describing a phone, describing shopping, it's all fine, but if you're using it as a tool to fill this gap where you don't create either, like what are we saying? To me, those are describing short-term dopamine hits, right? Like they're not long-term dopamine. They're like, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to fill that hole with information. So I guess what is the opposite of that? Like when we say create, or when we're saying why doing less isn't helping you feel better, we kind of just described like, okay, doing less means phone, shopping, blah, 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 blah. It's like filling this time. So what is the opposite of that look like?
Yeah, we use the word create, right? It's an ambiguous term. What am I creating?
Yeah.
Do I have to create art, music, a business? Like create what?
Yeah.
More posts on social? Like what is creating? Well, I think honestly what it comes down to is like, this is also going to be ambiguous and hard, but it's like, what are you doing? Like, how are you going to leave the place better than you found it? That's it. I mean, we're all going to die. Right. So if you focus on how do you leave the place better than you found it, that gives you agency, that gives you meaning, that gives you a reason to create. And that could be as basic as like, I want to raise the best kids, because if I raise 3 great kids, that means they'll ideally, obviously nothing's for sure, but if I raise 3 great kids, maybe they'll impact the other people well. And so you actually left the place better than you found it because you focused on creating or raising 3 great kids. Okay. So that's when you look at like parents who focus on doing the best they can. And that gives people agency and meaning. The other side is, well, I want to focus on food scarcity, I don't know.
Yeah. This word create, you're right. Cause it's not art, music, or projects. It can be that, very much so.
Totally. Music is an amazing thing. It makes me feel better. It helps me with my mental work, all that stuff.
But I think about create. This comes back to my other project that I work on called Tiny Risks. And I sometimes think about like if there was this app and there was this button, and I envision like, oh, the button is take a risk. And I was like, that's kind of ambiguous. No one really knows what that means. Like it sounds risky. Now, like, what is it actually doing? When you're actually like, when I say take a risk, you're literally creating something that did not exist before. There's potential for upside and downside, blah, blah, blah. And I literally have started thinking about, I was like, I should be a button that says create a ripple. like you need to do something where an outcome, you're creating an outcome. That's what I think maybe that's what I don't know. When I think about creating, I think about creating an outcome, and it doesn't have to be art. It doesn't have to be music. It could just be, I don't know, you're putting more you're giving to the world more so than you are taking from the world. And that is, I don't know, what I think about in terms of creation.
Well, and then people just go, well, what do I do to give? And like, honestly, that's a big part of your life, figuring out how you're going to do it.
Well, when you talk about like this gap, what I'm realizing is we tend to consume in the void, right? So when there is a void of what do I do? What do I create? I don't know what to do with my time. Then we default to like, I will consume instead. So it comes back to like, what is that you want to do? Which is a different live stream that we had before, right? Like this like, if you feel this adriftness or this stuckness, then you're like, well, I'm going to consume because I don't really know what else I'm supposed to do. And, for me, when I think about, like, I don't know, I kind of know now more of what I feel I'm here on earth to do, more so than I did 2 years ago. But it has taken 15 years of creating random shit to get to this point. And I remember very much so a couple of times, a couple of years ago, where I was like, I remember I was in my room at night. I'm like about to fall asleep and like all this shit's racing through your head, right? And I'm frustrated because I'm wanting the answers to appear out of the sky and just fall down and be like, here are the things you should do. Like here's what your life is about. And I remember catching myself and becoming aware and saying, that's never going to happen. It's never going to float down out of nothingness. I need to FAFO. I need to create opportunities, and they might not all be right or accurate or whatever, but nothing can happen unless I make it happen. And that is that agency, self-efficacy, creation mode of like, I need to make things happen instead of wait for them to happen to me.
Yeah. Well,
waiting for them. I'm tying back to the thing. Waiting for them to happen to me is what, like doing less is waiting for something to happen to you. And I don't feel any better by doing less.
Well, this is good because the next question is like, well, I don't know where to start. We start with something that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
That's it. But I'm going to tie it back to supply run. because I think about a long time ago, right? We started this idea of Supply Run so long ago. And it was completely different. And now we look at Supply Run and it has more meaning than I ever thought was actually possible, right? Before it was just, we just wanted to travel the world and film it. Yep. Now it's not just that, it is something else. But do you know where it actually started for me? When I used to bartend in Chicago, I just wanted to do these videos for marketing, and I would do these, I called it your Chicago Fix. And it was just about Chicago. And I would go and film these stupid videos all around town. And I would do it. And then the Berghoff would put it on their social. And this social was nothing back then, right? I used a little handheld camera. I look back.
It was like 2005 or something,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, it was 6.
Yeah.
6 or 8. Yeah, I can't remember. You're right. Maybe 8. 10.
I
don't
even
even
college,
know.
So I was
yeah. And I just remember sitting there. I look at it now and I'm like, that was just interesting to me. I was like, can I use video to get more people to go to this bar? That was it. And then I was like, but I want to go travel the world like Nat Geo, so I'll just do this. It was interesting, and I did it. And now look at us, right? Look, don't get me wrong. I'd be like, yeah, I'd love to have a TV show like Survivor, but if we were that good back then and got us a show like Survivor, which is to me the most surface level show you could ever fucking make, right? Like Supply Run is so much more. And it's all in my head coming back to me just doing some stupid videos for the Berghoff bar.
Yeah. So it's
like start with something with interesting. It was just interesting.
Yeah.
Did I just go off a rail on that?
No, that was good, because I'm like that. It's that whole idea of what we were basically saying is when you have the void and you don't know what to do, most people are waiting for something that like they consume, and you're like, you didn't know what to do. You didn't know where it was going to lead at all. You're like, I'm interested in making videos before people were really making videos like that consistently. And so you went around and made something that is probably funny to think about now.
Oh, dude.
But literally it is 15 years of iterating and creating and just seeing what happens. And I remember you editing some video and you're like, I never want to edit a video again because it took forever. But you don't know until you did it. And so here are the two pathways, right? Like one pathway was, I don't know what I want to do. I'm interested in this thing, but like that seems like a lot of work, and there's no guarantee that it's going to work out or be something I really want to do. And so you just don't. And then you probably just consume other people making videos and you critique them and say they should have done that better, but you don't actually do anything.
Yeah.
And then the other side, which is I'm going to go try some stuff, and maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. I'm just interested. And then by doing that, it iterates on top of itself, and all of a sudden we have a show like Supply Run. And you didn't get it from waiting for it to happen to you. So.
No. And here we are creating this live stream, right? Yeah. Like for the show. Like, I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, and I know we're gonna close it up here in a couple minutes, right? So I think the topic was simply, people think doing less is the key to feeling better. I need to relax, right? There's a difference between rest and relax. And usually when you're relaxed, you have a void to fill. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I scroll ESPN, I do that, but I'm very aware, right? When I'm in consumption mode and I need to move out of it.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. People just think that it's okay to consume, and it is, but like if it becomes, there's a thing that I read, a simple phrase. Consumers outsource meaning, right? People who consume outsource the meaning of their life, but the creators of the world, right? They're the ones who generate meaning. They generate meaning from creating. And sometimes it's just doing dumb shit like building stupid videos for the Berghoff in Chicago.
I remember building it.
Go ahead. No, because I said it morphed all the way out here to Supply Run. Without doing those videos, a lot of what we're doing with Supply Run does not exist.
Yeah. We'll have a whole nother live stream on the shit pipe idea. Ed Sheeran's shit pipe. I don't know if it was his idea or not. I just know it's from the interview. But like the shit pipe idea is literally creating without knowing what's going to happen for long enough until the creation becomes something real, you know, or like something that's worth pursuing. And I have there's so many examples of this. Like building a treehouse in South Africa. And I remember certain friends were like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, wait, you go spend money and time and all this energy and fly your family out there to build a treehouse for not even you?
Yeah, and then they watch the video of it and they're like, I wish I did that.
Exactly. And that thing, without knowing what would happen, like I made a video of it and it got picked up by BuzzFeed. And and people were messaging like, can you build a treehouse in my place? I was like, I don't even know. Like, opportunities arose, different pathways existed because I created this other thing. That didn't exist before. And same thing with Stampabout, same thing with the Moto Run, same thing with all these things we're just creating and then be like, I don't know if that was it. But because of that, the opportunities, or sometimes it's just learning what you don't want to do. You create something like that, it can't be that. And so you pivot and it's iteration again.
Yeah.
So
I actually remember I did one-on-one coaching, right? I was trying to create value with one-on-one coaching. I was like, fuck, I ain't doing this shit. I hate doing one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that again.
But you don't know until you did it.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, so the next part here, which we're not going to get into, but the next part is always like, well, people will hesitate on creating because they fear judgment of what they created. But you don't have to publicly put it out there. The point is, write all these ideas at the very basis. There's different levels who we're talking to here right now. People are just trying to do something. People like us, where we've created for a long time. And then there's people like the Ed Sheerans of the world who just crush it. And it's just like they have billions of dollars in fans, Yeah. But he started out like this. Point is, he started. So I think the next part would be judgment. But it's like, dude, just write at the very least, write or, go. Just do what's interesting, and then you can keep it to yourself until you gain the confidence. I don't know. We'll talk about that some other time. But
yeah.
How do you want to? So what's the take? Well,
I was just gonna relate it back to Supply Run real fast. I guess.
Oh yeah, that was why.
This is Breakthroughs Live by Supply Run.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, I'll ask you then. How does this relate to Supply Run? Like, doing less isn't helping you feel better.
Yeah. So when we do Supply Run, it is literally in creation mode at all times. Yeah. Specifically for it's for us, obviously. But like when JD came, JD's never done anything like that. So we're getting the same sense and the same feeling that JD's getting. JD's feeling, though, is just it's exponential because he's never been in that type of creation environment. He's created other things, but like that one is so outside of the box that he had no time to consume. Zero. Yeah. He was in pure creation mode the whole time. And like his energy levels were just amazing to watch from start to finish.
Yeah, I feel like, it kind of packs all this stuff in there for 3 weeks. And it's just an extreme challenge where you're like, I have to figure things out. Like no one else is. Sometimes I think we consume because we don't want to deal with the coming up with the solution. And so we hope it comes from some other source externally. And in that mode, there is literally no other source to give it to you. Or you have to go seek it, and you have to create the ability to go find, how are we going to get this item? We had to talk to this person. We have to plan this logistics, and we have to, and then ultimately the whole thing is about giving to somebody else instead of for yourself. And so everything is generated inside, given outside. And that is like full on creating, full on creating.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Supply Run.
Yeah, I have nothing more to add. That is the idea. I mean, look, there's no time to consume on Supply Run.
Yeah, and consuming won't help. Like
no.
Like, can you imagine? Day 6, and we're freaking out for one reason or another because we're trying to solve problems 24/7.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I don't know what to do, and you just like look at your phone. You're like, oh man, did you see this thing that someone posted? And then you scroll and you watch a bunch of videos that mean nothing to anything. There's just it's just not possible to do.
Yeah, dude, it's amazing. When you're on a mission, you don't care about consumption.
Purpose.
Crazy.
Back.
What do you know?
Comes back to purpose.
Yeah.
Which is a large, scary, very broad thing, which we've touched on almost on every single live stream. And you know, there is no blueprint to find out what that thing is. But in this live stream, creating can help you find it. is how I would put it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, so look, I mean, I'll summarize this one with less isn't helping you make you feel better, but creating more, right? Mm-hmm. So more doesn't always make you feel better, but creating more, right? Because more phone, more TV, more sports, none of that's going to help you feel better. Creating value of some kind is going to help you make you feel better in time.
And it comes that awareness thing is always going to come back to it. When in doubt, create. That's really all it is, right?
That is.
You just have to know when it's happening. You're like, right. I am feeling bad. I'm feeling bad and anxious and frustrated or depressed or whatever it is. What is going on? And then you'll start looking at what happened that day. And you're like, I've just been consuming information from everybody else, and I haven't created anything myself.
Actually, this is the last point here for me. Mm-hmm. When you're sitting on the couch and scrolling and you're feeling a little bad, you're consuming, or you went shopping and you realized, oh shit, more clothes didn't help, right? You can actually create by going and doing like 20 push-ups. You're creating muscle. You know what I'm saying? And that's like, there's all these random things that you can do to create. So yeah, I don't know. I think people just don't understand, just being understanding the difference between creating and consuming, you know?
Yeah.
When you're working out, you're creating. When you're helping somebody else, you're creating. When you're raising kids, you're creating. When you're building a business, you're creating. Anyway,
it's agency, it's action versus just rumination, right?
That's it. Yep, that's it. Agency over rumination.
Yeah.
So anyway, action over rumination. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but tell everybody what we need to do. Yeah.
It's like, it's so funny because at this point, I'm like, now we're hitting the groove. You know, It's been a week and a half, 2 weeks since we've done this live stream, and we're just trying to get back into it. But I guess one thing I'll say is that we're going to be doing this 3 times a week for the next month at minimum. Maybe what we'll do is actually post when generally we expect these things to happen. It might help. But yeah, if you're watching this and any of this is interesting to you, please leave a comment. If any of this resonates, do you know when you're consuming? Do you know when you're creating? How does it make you feel? If you go to supplyrunshow.com or our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@supplyrun, you can learn more about Supply Run and how this all relates. So yeah, that's it, I guess. Big gulps, huh? Well,
we'll
see you later.
See you later.
Oh, we doubled it up.